Hi, I was calling for Mordecai Mose.
This is Mordecai.
Hey, Mordecai, Detective Stan Strauss. How are you?
I'm fine, and yourself?
I can't complain. I survived the weekend, back for more, you know?
I got you. I called Friday because I went to the mailbox and I found a bill where my son had went to the emergency room back in March. And it's April, and I'm like, okay, what happened? So I called my wife, and I said, hey, are you at work? She said, yeah. I said, well, I got a bill. Well, I'll call you back later. So she called me back, and I asked why. Well, she took me out to the emergency room and didn't let me know. And I said, you put the paperwork, you signed the consent form and told them the bill goes to me. And I'm like, you can't do that. And my main concern was what happened in the emergency room. Right? And she's like, well, he was limping real bad. I said, well, what happened? I don't know. I'll tell you. I can't talk right now. I said, well, okay, what's going on? So then I was getting text messages. I don't know who's on the other end of these text messages. And I said, well, you can't do that. And then it was like, I can do whatever I want to do, and you ugly. And I'm like, what's going on? We don't talk like that. We don't even talk. And basically, I pick up my son, drop him off. I don't really have too much conversation because all this stuff going on. And it's been quiet. Even since the last time you and I spoke, it's been quiet, and then all of a sudden nice, and then all of a sudden it's evil. And I said, something ain't right. And so let me call this guy. So I told her, I said, look, I'm concerned. I have 3 hours. I didn't let my son go to school. I was sick Friday, and he had stayed up late. So I contacted the school early that morning, talked to the teacher. I said, look, I'm just going to keep him in. I said, he was up late, and I'm not feeling well. So all of a sudden, she gets a reply, because they sent an automatic reply from the school. They didn't send it to me, but I already contacted the school before that happened. She says, hey, I got the school contacted me and said, man, I didn't go to school. I'm worried. Please contact me. It's been 3 hours. I'm going to have to send the police over there to do a wellness check. What the hell are you talking about? So then it wouldn't hurt. I don't know who's on the other end of that phone typing that stuff. And I can't wait till you need to sign these divorce papers. It's your ugly self, and I can't stand. Why would I try to forge your name? I said, right now you're under investigation with the feds and everything. The DA done picked up the charges. I don't know if I told her that. I said, I know the DA because I contacted the detective, and the DA picked up the charges. Or she's been summoned to go to court months ago. I don't know whatever turned out about it, whatever happened.
Which detective was this?
The detective with the bank fraud and the money laundering. Remember, that's who I thought you originally were. When you first called.
You mentioned that, but I never.
And because that's why I started talking. I'm like, okay, well, why would MD Anderson be? And then you told me that there was a report filed. Wasn't for her. I listened to because like you said, you recorded the conversation. I record my conversation. So I'm listening to this conversation. I'm like, why would MD Anderson police be contacting me whenever I don't even speak to her? I don't even call. I don't even know the number to her job. I don't even go. I've never been there as far as to. I never been to MD Anderson since she's been working there, and she's worked in 2 different departments. I used to cook for MD Anderson employees. She's always begging me to cook lunches and stuff, and all the people want me to cook. Can you do this? And all of a sudden, you feel threatened by me. Okay, there's a report that's been filed. Let me scratch the surface, and I left it alone. I said, but let me look a little deeper into this, because then she texted, she was like, I said, I'm going to contact that detective that called me. Oh, it's too late. I already contacted. I told him everything, and we're getting ready to file another report on you, and we're going to have you picked up. No. So I contacted my attorney, and I gave him all that information, because right now, like I said, the DA picked up these charges. Her and her aunt, they into some crooked stuff, and I told her, I said, if this doesn't stop, I said, you with the things I'm finding out, that the investigators are telling me and the lawyers are telling me, you're going to prison. That's and you and your whole family going to prison. That's when I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you. I said, you the reason your whole family going to prison. That scam stuff y'all doing that I'm finding out every day. taken $10,000 of my inheritance money. Then I took it, moved the money, closed accounts, money laundering through that church, all kind of stuff. But you still working. I said I'm not gonna call and mess with her because I'm gonna let the law do what they have to do. But this is extreme to where you got people trying to get in trouble because their case has been over a year. This divorce is going on a year. She keeps telling me, hurry up and sign the papers. Why are you so much in a hurry to sign these papers when you're the one told me just to get out for no reason? I didn't have to leave my house. I don't have no no restraining order. I can go in that house if I want, run up. I request to say, hey, I need to go get something in the house, which I did one time months ago. I said I needed parts of my old car. Okay, she let me come. If a person that fears for yourself, I live a mile away from our home. I'm right across the street. I see my son every day. I pick him up every day from school. Why is it that all of a sudden you fear for your life? They started, and her aunt, I'm getting death threats. I had to contact since last time we talked, death threats or texts on my phone, die motherfucker, from her aunt that works for the Customs Department. I had to contact Customs, HR, and report her. I'm tired.
Well, if your life is being threatened, you should contact HPD. I mean, whereabouts do you live again?
I'm in Richmond. I already contacted. In Richmond. And then,
let me get a word in edgewise. I'm listening to you. I want to offer a few pieces of information, if you don't mind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you said something. I'm backing up here. I understood that she does have a protection order, does she not?
No, she don't have
a restraining order, right?
No, there's no. That's what I told you, that there's no restraint. That's what. Where's all this coming from? We have no restraining order. There's no restraining. There's nothing like that.
Okay. She's saying that there is, so I'm not going to get to a dispute between you. I'm not taking her side.
Yeah, but she'd have to produce that for you to.
Yes, I know that. And I'm not assuming that she will produce it or not. What I don't want to do is go back into what we've already come through. Now, there's some contention between you, and that's going to be natural because you have vested interest in your son, as does she. And I guess you both have visitation rights according to the court. I know at some point there was some court involvement to sort that out, right?
There's a preliminary. We went to a preliminary.
Yes or no question. I mean, I don't want to get into. Yes.
We'll ask the question again.
Okay, I mean, the court's involved in regulating your custody with your son, right? Between you and your wife.
At this present time.
Yeah, well, that's what we're in the present time. So the answer is yes. So what I'm trying not to do is involve myself in that.
My question is, how did you even get involved in the first place? That's what I'm trying to figure out. When there's no protection order, none of that exists.
Okay, well, I can answer your question if you'll let me. And the reason we got involved is because there was contact here at MD Anderson on behalf of your ex-wife, I guess, or soon-to-be ex-wife, that there was a problem, that you were going by the house looking for her and these type of things, if anybody's there. We don't want to get into all that all over again. We've gone through it. But I explained that to you.
Right. And I told you.
Now you remember, right? So you asked.
Yeah, because I listened to the conversation over, and that's what's not making sense to me.
Well, I don't know why it's not making sense. We've done this already. What I'm trying to get to is the present and the future. I don't need to go through the past. We've already had our conversations. I've talked with her, and you guys have gone to court and everything. All I'm saying to you is if you feel that your life is threatened, you either let the Richmond Police Department know. If you feel okay, if she's sending text messages of a threatening nature, if you can bring those to me or send them to me, I'll take a look at that too. She's not entitled to harass you, but there's going to be dialogue between you and your wife. It's going to happen for some time now.
Yeah, there's
because you have a common interest now. I'm not saying you're right or wrong for taking your son out of school because you were.
No,
he was not doing well. I understand that. What I'm saying to you is maybe next time you might communicate that to her so she doesn't find out by way of the school and then have to call you.
No. Okay, so you're saying that my son, I'm a mile away from my house. I'm right across the street. This was on March 3rd was on a Sunday. That wasn't even my weekend. to have my son. I get him every other weekend and every day from school.
Right.
She doesn't see the schedule that she works. She doesn't see my son except early in the morning and late at night when she gets off from that job.
Okay. You're
going back to where we have to communicate. Like I said, we only communicate for anything other than that. I don't have anything. Even she said, I don't have to talk to you except for my son. Exactly. Okay, cool.
But she's talking about herself. What I'm talking about is you.
No, I'm talking about.
Unless I misunderstood you just a minute ago, you said that you weren't feeling so well. I guess it was a Friday, and your son wasn't doing so great, so you kept him home. You both stayed home, and there was a notification from the school sent down. She got the notification. She calls you repeatedly what's going on, right? Is that not right? Did I misunderstand that? Yeah,
you misunderstood that.
Go ahead. Tell me what happened.
Well, my son was taken to my son who's nonverbal.
Right.
I
got all that.
Okay, so you don't think that warrants a communication of me?
No, I didn't say that doesn't warrant a communication.
And my son has never been to the emergency room except once in his life since he was 2 years old.
But you're not hearing me. I'm not disputing that at all with you. What I'm trying to find out is the course, you're mixing two different issues. The issue that she took him to the emergency room didn't let you know. I understand how you might feel about that, I think. Or I can empathize with that. What I'm talking about is what happened after that. And it wasn't her taking him to the emergency room that caused her to be calling you and texting you. What caused her to be calling and texting you was the fact, as I understood it, you said I didn't understand it right, that he didn't go to school that Friday. He stayed home with you, and she got a notification from the school, and she's texting her to see what's going on.
No, what happened? I don't know how you because I didn't explain. So I'm trying to figure out. You said when we originally talked. You said you got notification from somebody at the hospital or the pub when we originally talked. She said she don't know who you are, and then all of a sudden in these text messages, I already spoke to him. Okay, so y'all have a personal. I'm like, do they have a personal relationship? Because what's causing me to ask these questions? If you claim somebody else reported this, it was on behalf of my wife, that's what you said.
Right.
She's texting me. The texts that I have are saying that she's speaking to you. She's the one talking directly to you.
And she is.
And she's like,
wait a minute. You need to understand. Slow down for a minute. This is true. What I told you was correct. We were contacted by a third party, and she's correct. I did talk with her and have spoken to her. There's no relationship. There's just discussion.
But you're not seeing. The thing that I'm trying to explain to you, me keeping my son out of school, which I've done before, and she's calling like, okay, no problem. I didn't see my son for my birthday which was on Thanksgiving, and we had agreed to that. So I let God handle that. But then when Christmas, what was that?
You've been taking the higher road on these things.
Yes. So here it is. Christmas comes around. She when I contacted my lawyers about it, they get scared. So you can have them the whole weekend. I was in Louisiana for a week and a half for Christmas. Not one call to check up on him. Not even to see if we made it all right. I texted. I said, okay, so here it is. One day out of school. On a Friday, when it's my weekend, all of a sudden you're concerned 3 hours. No, I'm dealing with a crazy person on that other end.
And I can appreciate your point of view. You need to be in contact with the courts and try to coordinate this thing so you all have an understanding. And exactly what you told me about Christmas and everything else.
You can do that all till you're blue in the face. The courts can issue orders, and it's up to that person to follow. They're not going to follow. You're not dealing with normal people.
Well, listen. I'm not in a position to judge that. I'm just telling you, sir.
I'm just telling you what I'm saying. You can have 1,000 orders. If a person feels that they're above the law, they're going to do what they want to do.
Well, there are consequences to that, though. Generally speaking.
Yeah, when it comes out, but you got to. Then there's also money involved too, because you got to keep going back.
That could be the case too, sir. I'm not debating it with you, but what we're trying to do is fix responsibility where it needs to be fixed. See, I'm not the court. I can't enforce.
You're not the court, but you are. I'm gonna just finish this, and because I'm getting ready to go into a meeting.
Thank you very much at this point to listen to me, and this is what I want to tell you. First of all, you need to understand, as a police officer, as a detective investigating this, I have no relationship with your wife other than the case that was closed. Now, you're calling me has to do with things that have happened since that. You're taking me back into the history of this. I understand the history, but I'm trying to get you to look at the future. In order for this to be relegated and resolved, you need to be in contact with the court on a very frequent basis when you have these issues with her. I can't get in between you and her in the court. So that's all I'm trying to get you to understand. Now, to that end, if you're calling me to tell me that she's harassing you, what you need to do is come down here or send me the text that show the harassment, and we can possibly open a case based on that. Now, what you have to be careful about is letting her work you to think I'm against you or for her or something. None of that's going on here. But you need to, for the sake of your son and your peace of mind, have more faith in the court. And if you got to talk to you blue in the face, do that. Do your best.
I guess because you don't. I guess because you don't know me, and I used to be an officer of the court back in Louisiana. The court system is not what it's not. It's all about money. The court system sees so many cases till they get sick of it, and they start cookie cutting these cases. Oh, this dude is deadbeat, or this is that, and you're not going to put me in put a stencil around me and say, okay, this is the same type of mess that we see every day. My point, and I'm not going to keep you after this. My point is, you had a conversation with whoever and with her. She claims she had a protective order. She was supposed to produce that protective order. And that's all I'm asking. If you're telling me and you're giving me advice, and you're the officer, you're not the courts, but you're the officer of the officer of the law, you're the detective on this case. The first thing I would ask, well, let me see your protective order.
Well, you need to understand something. First of all, but I didn't take any action based on that with you. I gave you the benefit of the doubt when I called you.
But you called me. That's actions there. It's like, okay, I need to set protective order.
Let me give you an example. Let me take you down this road. Since you started this, and it's with all due respect, okay? What she also told me is that you've been served with divorce papers. Now, I don't know, for example, whether that's been completed or finalized or whatnot. You just said that you can go back to the house when you want to and whatnot. I have no idea what the court has ruled between you. You know what I mean? And it's not my place to get into that. But I can tell you that, most courts that I'm familiar with at some point will take action when they need to. And my point to you, I repeat, is that you've got to have a little more faith in the system rather than say, they're not going to do anything, cookie cutter, this, that, and the other. That's where your lever lay. Now, if you want me to pursue charges for harassment, bring in the evidence of her sending these numerous text messages and whatnot, and we'll do what we can for you. I mean, that's all I can offer you. I'm not getting in between you and she and your.
No, I'm not asking. All I'm asking you is to actually produce her paperwork that her claims that she would have to produce that.
Well, I can ask her.
Okay.
If you want me to, I will. But
you can ask her. She can produce that.
At the end of the day, it really doesn't make any difference because your complaint is nothing to do with the protective order, restraining order. Your complaint has to do with her contacting you in this ridiculous manner. My complaint is, how did this come about?
if she had a protective order, yeah, I could see her doing that, and everybody feared for their lives. And I'm like, where did this originate from? Because remember, I was in shock. I was like, who is this? I'm waiting for the other detective to call me.
I think you're misunderstanding this whole thing. Let's assume, just for the sake of discussion, that she does not have a restraining order. Okay, that has nothing to do with her calling and harassing you. So you don't have a restraining order against her.
No.
So she can call you, and she can ask these questions.
Yeah, right? But you can't give. Yeah, you're right.
If you think she needs to stop doing that, or she's done it to a point where you're being harassed, come see me. Bring your phone. We'll look at the text messages. I'll let you know whether we've met the threshold. But again, I'm going to redirect you back to the court. Don't lose faith in the court because nothing has been done just right at this point. It's going to be an ongoing thing. It won't last forever. I mean, your son's getting older every day, and eventually this thing will work itself out because there'll be a balance achieved. Now, can I ask you one question? Because I haven't heard you say anything about that. Are you willing to divorce her or not? I mean, how's that going?
Man, I'm trying to.
Are you hoping to get back with her or not?
No. Okay. Hell no. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to prison for anybody. When I ran across all that I got a paper trail and I had to contact the feds behind this.
Right.
Because I got told her she knows this is going to hit the news, and if they go pick up it, if them feds drop in on Indiana, then I'll just be sit back and watch it on TV. I'm letting it play out.
I remember you telling me that story a while back, and I didn't disbelieve you. I don't disbelieve you now. But what you're going to have to do is let the system do it.
Right.
You can't rush it.
I'm not rushing anything. All I'm asking is for you to verify her paperwork and her claims. That's it.
I can do that. I can ask her.
That's all I'm asking. And put that and doctor put it on record.
I'll do that for you, but I want you to understand something. I'm repeating it, and I'll have to go. That has nothing at all to do with her calling you. And her calling you is why you called me. You're making this something different. I mean, I'm not saying that the restraining order is not an important thing. That really has nothing to do with this. It has nothing to do with her calling you. You need to understand it. You don't seem to understand that. You're running it all together, and there's a point of origination, and I'm like, how did it even? Your origination has to do with you calling her.
No.
If she has a restraining order, you can't call her because that's part of the restraining order. It's that direction that it applies. It has nothing to do with her calling you. And you don't seem to understand that.
But I understand it very perfectly. Nobody can tell me what I understand and don't understand. I'm understanding everything you're saying. My point is, it sounds like you're more focused on me. I'm focused on how did this thing originate when every life was fine. It was going fine. All of a sudden, she's setting herself. What it is? She's setting herself up to play. She's playing the victim, and don't play the victim on me because you're in trouble. And that's my point. It's not about. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. I just want the laws. If the courts can I can let everything play out in the court, and the people can file false reports. She's turned in false records to the school saying that I didn't have custody of my son in the beginning of this year.
I see what you're saying, and that makes sense to me, but I can't get into it. Now, I'm going to call her, and I'm going to say that I recommend that you stop calling him because it sounds like, it's beginning to be harassment as far as his perspective. I'm not going to take your side either, but I'm going to tell her that. And I'll ask her if the restraining order she referred to earlier in her first report, does she have a copy I might go take a look at? But that's all I can do.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking you to do.
I'll do that just for you, but I'm not going to call you and tell you I did it and we're going to get into all that. The reason you called me, I'm going to bring you back to this a third time. The reason you called me is because you said she's calling you with these ridiculous calls. In other words, it's harassing.
It's text message.
Be doing it.
Right.
So you need to go to the courts, baby, if that is the case, and get your own restraining order. Whether or not she has one is irrelevant. You might need one. If she's calling for things that are ridiculous and making life unbearable. But on the other hand,
I'm taking it from my son.
I mentioned this to you twice. I'm not saying she's right to do it. I know that she didn't let your son come with you for your birthday or whatever.
It's not about me. It's not about me.
Let me finish the point. She may have done many things in the past that give rise to you feeling the way you do, and I understand that. But there's a difference between that and you having the right to stop her from calling you. So it's from your perspective that we're talking. So you need to remember why you called me to begin with. We're going into other worlds now.
Other worlds, we're going into other worlds, and I'm taking the. I'm gonna take the brunt of everything from my son because he can't tell me. He's communicating. He can like say, "Daddy, they hit me," but he can sign language and tell me that, "Hey, somebody hit me," and I taught him that, and he can speak and communicate. She doesn't. My son is 11. She doesn't know how to communicate with him. We're not going to get into that. So I'm worried. I take everything and I'm carrying this load until this case is over with. So hopefully I can get custody of him and get him out of that situation. And just because there's a lot of things that I can't go into, and that's with her family, and I can't go into it. But when you fear, it's not my life I fear for, because I'm not scared of death. It's his life and his well-being that I'm taking the brunt. But enough, you're not going to try to set me up like I'm the evil person and I haven't done anything.
I understand this very well. I've never thought of you as the evil person. And I know I've been working these things for a long time. Everybody's got their story, Everybody's got their story. And my role in this is to listen and try to find either reasonable suspicion, probable cause, where there might be an offense that we can address. That's my role. That's my job. I'm not in this position to mitigate or mediate between you and she about the orders of the day, because there's probably so many things that go on and so many things that seem ridiculous to you and to her that you all have to go through to get this resolved. I really am not qualified to comment on these things. But, for your benefit, I will reach out to her and I'll explain to her that you're not really happy with her outreach. It's being kind of consistent as far as I know.
Yeah, because I was getting ready to get you called me when I was just out. When you just called me today, this morning. I guess God fixed it that way because I was punching in the number of the community relations and complaints to MD Anderson. I was going to call them to find out what's going on because
I got you.
With this report.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. It's not my place to dictate that either. I'm just saying to you, I'm a detective investigating this, and I'm doing it from that perspective, the general good of the order. I'm not anybody.
Yeah, because you're not going to, if somebody you fear for your life, you're not going to be asking them to cook for your co-workers all the time, no.
Well, you did say something I want to ask you about, if you don't mind, Mr. Mose. You said, I don't mind dying. What does that mean?
It's like when you're a Christian, that be absent from the body, you be present from the Lord. Death is nothing but a transition. And if I got to sacrifice my life, which I did for my son, as far as like, if somebody's going to kill me, then hey, you're going to have to kill me because that love is not going to separate me and my son. The love that I have for you.
You think somebody's going to kill you?
When people tell you, won't you just die? And
talking about her aunt or her sister.
Whoever,
did you report that to the court?
Yeah, I reported to the court.
Okay.
And all of a sudden,
to the police department as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean, you want to take precautions, and if you feel fearful, you dial 911.
Yeah, there's no. I told you.
I think this will help you as you go through. There's going to be a number of, points of contention between you and she. I can see that now, and I heard it from the past. Keep a running record. Write it out. The date, what was said. Keep your kind of journal. That will keep you grounded. You want to remember everything, first of all. And secondly, if you have to come back to these different issues, you'll have the facts laid out. It won't take any effort or emotional investment to relate what's happened. And these things are hard on people. And I understand that. And I want to try to make things better for you and for she if I can.
I wish you had. Go to, if you can, go to YouTube. I mean, I don't know if this is your cell phone. I could send you a link. I've been documenting documenting, because I do film, and I've been doing this documentary since my son has been born, and that's my main concern. And that's been given to the courts, that she's nowhere around. It's a, man, I'm telling you, it's more, you'll see, it's going to hit the news, you'll see.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by you'll see.
It's going to, you said you used to work for the FBI.
Right.
The FBI has